Hello everybody, I'm here where last year I grew a cover crop. I'm not sure if you will remember the videos from that, but if you go back about 10 months or so, I'm sure in February we started grazing with bulls, and we grazed through a number of times at high density, and the crop was very tall, over 12 feet, probably 14 feet somewhere, especially the sorghums and sunflowers and millets. But yep, this year I've got something different going on because the farmer wants to use this place for their tobacco nursery next year, so they'll probably need to start preparing in March or April, and so I can't plant anything that takes too long. So I have decided to sow some teff grass, and hopefully that flowers in 60 days after planting. So roughly about 60, maybe 70 days, if there's a dry spell in our rainy season, whip off a couple of bales, and then the farm can spray herbicides for the tobacco seedbed or nursery preparation, and then they'll start ploughing and stuff. Anyway, so I thought it would be interesting, come and see. So what I'm doing is I'm applying lime, and I've got a measure. I know that the lime box puts about a ton a hectare, so I've put teff into the lime. We're mixing about 600 grams of teff every bag of lime, and that should work out at about 12 kgs a hectare of teff. Now teff on an irrigated pasture, if you're growing for grain, you only need about 5 to 8 kgs, so I've got an extra because I'm not sure that this is going to work well, and also because it doesn't really matter if it gets too thick and starts falling over and stuff. We're not going to let it get to that stage, so that's fine. It'll be hard for me to show you, but I'll just try. So if I can point there, that's a teff seed there, that's teff. These are all teff down here, those little whitish color things. So it seems to be working fairly well. We've done one pass with 9 bags of lime, and the guys are just filling up the lime box again. So I think I should have actually disked or harrowed the land before I do this. Anyway, it's also a learning. Everything is always learning for me. So this is the lime, and then the driver Douglas is putting 600 grams of teff seed for every bag, and then they will come and spread it out here. And luckily it's not going to rain today, but hopefully the other tractor will come and do a very light disking, like not even 1 inch deep, hopefully, and then we'll be able to see what happens. So yeah, this field, we just grazed it and grazed it and grazed it as much as we could, and then it even became like a thoroughfare for the cattle. Our night pen where the cattle sometimes stay is over there, and they have to walk through this field because there's there's macadamia orchards either side of this field, so they quite often walk through here on their way to a day's grazing and on their way back at night. So a lot of the plants that we're trying to grow have been eaten by the cattle on their numerous passes, but there's still stuff here. So there's a lot of buckwheat. This with the flower is buckwheat. We have a lot of sorghums, and I actually think that this is probably millet, pearl millet, and that's pearl millet, but there is sorghum, like that will be sorghum. There's a number of sorghums. There's obviously lots of weeds like kanunka, blackjack. That's a chicory plant. There's a few of them. What else have I seen? I've seen sunflowers, lab, dolichos lab, a planted legume, very nice. That there is silverleaf desmodium next to a dolichos lab. So that's yeah, natural legume, the silverleaf desmodium, and you can see how there's lots of things growing here, and a lot of weeds. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what will come of this crop of teff. And yeah, plan is, if I can manage, if there's a dry spell, we whip it off in hay bales, find a big tent to protect it for the end of the rainy season, and because that'll be right in the middle of the rainy season that we need to harvest it. And then yeah, it'll come in very handy for cattle later on in the season, especially weaning. I love teff. I don't think there's any better way to wean cattle. I've never seen anything that calves like to eat as much as teff straight off the cow's teat. So yeah, let's wait and see if the tractor will get going soon. So I'm back at the lime box. You can see the seed is very, very small, almost like a grain of sand, because that's it there sitting in the lime. And we are doing it like this and not using a broadcaster like a Vicon for fertilizer, because the seed doesn't spread very far. I've tried it a number of times in experiments in years past, and even if we do half the distance that we usually throw fertilizer, it still creates stripes. So this is the first time I'm trying it like this through the lime box. I've heard of some people who spray it on with their tractor mounted sprayers. They just take out the filters and spray it in water. I've never done that myself. I wouldn't feel very comfortable doing that, but yeah, I'm pretty certain this is going to work well. And another thing I haven't mentioned before was, look at the trash that's left from last year's cover crop, all adding to organic matter going into the ground at some point, hopefully. Look, crunching away on dry stems and stuff. So that's all handy stuff, benefits of that cover crop, which I obviously like because I feed a lot of cattle on it. But this will also feed a lot of cattle, just that it's a monocrop this year, which will be a bit sad. Any weeds that do come up, it will be fine. We can make them into hay as well, but hopefully I'm sowing it heavy enough with teff that a lot of these will get out competed once we harrow and prepare the field. So there we go, he's off now, dribbling lime and teff seed onto a tobacco nursery site for next year. Luckily not too windy today, so most of the lime is ending up on the field, and another tractor will come and disc it very lightly soon. And here's a velvet bean seed germinated, so but that'll also get taken care of by the harrow. Yep, so that's it. An experiment that I enjoy watching to see if it'll work or not. We will on the end hopefully harrow a couple of lines first before doing this, and then just to see which works out better. So in future videos I'll try and show both the different systems, and then yeah, next time I try this I'll go with whichever way seems to work best. Thanks for watching, hope you've enjoyed that, hope it hasn't wasted your data. Cheers.